you should. I said this last week. I think that you should approach every game the same. I think that if you have to tell somebody to get excited about a game, then something's already wrong. I think we have a team full of guys that are excited to go out there and play Saturday, no matter who we're playing, away, home, SEC or non-SEC. You should be excited to get out there. You never want to take that for granted to go out there and play against a team on TV, let alone another SEC team. It's just, I think it's fun. You should never take it for granted. So I don't think you should have to hype anybody up. It's the next game. I think that's the most important game. So.
And then y'all haven't made it any secret that you learned a lot about yourselves from that Kentucky loss last year. How can you kind of use that maybe as motivation going in there this year?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't even look. That game has no effect on this year's game at all. They have different players, we have different players. Some of the same players, some of them, not. But we try to prepare this week to go out there and play, this year's Kentucky team. And I think that's the funnest part. It doesn't have any effect. Last year's game doesn't.
How much did last year's? How much did last year's loss, I guess, help you guys in the long run?
For
that season?
Yeah. For last year's season, I think it was an eye opener. That we should never take a team lightly, no matter what people say about them or anything. You should never take a team lightly. There should be a standard at which you play at every game, no matter who you're playing. And if you're playing below that standard, then that's not right, and that's not how we're going to win. And I think we made that very clear after last year's loss, and going into this season, we made that very clear that there's a standard at which you play at, and if you're not up to that standard, then you don't expect to go out there and win.
Is that really the only way you can learn that, though, by losing? You're not going
to
win the game on a Hail Mary. You're not going to learn that same lesson.
Yeah, I think that it's very much easier to learn when you lose. You get people that'll get complacent, or we got this, we're 5-0 or 6-0, and then you get complacent, and then you start to play below the standard, and then you lose, and then you realize we didn't do this right, we didn't do this, that, the other. And you need to go out there and correct those mistakes. And I think that you're right. I think that losing is an easier way to learn that lesson. Not a fun way, but easier way.
I know you guys have a lot of playmakers, but what's the impact of losing Kadarius for a couple weeks?
KT is one of those special players. But I think he's doing the right steps right now, just getting his body back right. Like I said, I think he's doing the right thing right now in the training room every day. That just shows you how dedicated he is and get ready to get back and play ball with the guys. And, like I said, he'll be back soon. And we got guys that'll step up, in his place. You got Copeland, you got Josh, Freddie, those guys that play H that'll step up and, just keep the offense moving smoothly. So.
Have you gotten to speak to KT?
I did at halftime. I did.
How did he seem?
A little down. It's not fun when you get hurt and you're out for a couple of weeks. But at the same time, like I said, he has the right attitude to continually prepare his body to get ready for when he is back. And I think that's the most important thing, that he keeps his mindset in the right place. And I think that's a good thing. I don't know. I think he'll be back soon, though. So.
And you mentioned Copeland is one of those guys that can step in. What sort of wrinkle does he bring to that unit?
Copeland's a really good player. He's dealt with injuries since he's been here, just continuing to learn the offense. And I think that, he'll be just fine stepping in. He's one of those guys that he can play, and he's a really good player for our offense. He's taking the right steps to become a really good player. Just continue to learn the offense, and just, he's been playing his role. He's just dealt with injuries. He'll be a really good player for us. So.
What's the most impressive thing you've seen from him? Is there a play that stands out? Has he done some pretty amazing stuff at practice?
Yeah, I think that, honestly, none of that, really stands out to me. It's just more of just his grit, the way that, when players get injured and things don't go the way they want, how do they respond? And I think that he's responded in all the right ways. by just continuing to keep his body healthy, continuing to do the right steps to maintain his body healthy. And I think it's important, and when you first get to college and things don't go the right, the way you want them to go. Just continuing to have that mindset, of I'm not going to stop here just because I'm hurt. I'm going to continue to battle through this, get healthy again, and just continue to grind. And I think that he did a really good job doing that. So.
How do you guys compartmentalize stuff and just put disappointments and losses? And I mean, is that you really don't remember the down moments and the disappointing things that happen?
Yeah, I think you remember
against certain teams.
Yeah, I remember a bunch of disappointments. But I mean, I don't think it defines who people. I mean, as a person, anybody as a person or anything.
But it doesn't motivate. Like you're playing Kentucky. I mean, it's all right, man, you guys got us last year.
I think if you need to motivate somebody, then you're in the wrong business. I don't know. That's just me personally. Either you have that competitive fire, or you don't. Either you want to go out there and play every Saturday, or you don't. You want to win, or you don't. It's it's black and white. I don't think there's any gray area in being a competitor. Either you play with passion or you don't. I mean, one of the two.
Feleipe, there's motivation and there's concentration. You were in a zone Saturday night. You had a great run of completions. Talk about how you prepared for that game versus others, or was it the same?
It's the same. I don't think it changed at all, to be honest. I mean, I said that before the game. You shouldn't change the way you prepare. I'm speaking for me in general, but I don't change the way I prepare no matter who we're playing. And that's 100% the truth. I have the same routine I did versus Miami, the same routine I did versus UT Martin. It'll be the same one this week versus Kentucky. I don't try to change up my routine. I just prepare the same, whoever we're playing.
Excuse me. Coach Mullen talked about detail, how it's different for everybody, and freshmen who never rode on a plane before and so on. For you, detail, what are the details you're trying to accomplish early in the game or when you start the game? What little details for you are significant?
Okay, I think it's different for where you're playing at. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, this week we got an away game. I think you want to prepare. You don't want to have silly mistakes to start the game, like false starts and things that we can control that are just mental mistakes that we don't want to have. I think that's very important when you're playing away games. You don't want to give the crowd or anybody an advantage that we can control. And I think that's important. And but I think that's what we need to focus on this week is just controlling the things that we can control and not hurting ourselves or shooting ourselves in the foot. I don't think that we should do that. I think that we need to just continue to get better and not make silly mistakes. I think that's the main thing. Is that good? One more.
How much will you guys work on just snap counts or communication? It's really your first true road game where it'll be loud for you on offense.
Yeah, that's one thing that we work on. I mean, that's how you get a play started, and that's one thing that we want to focus on. But our O-linemen, we have guys that are experienced on there. I mean, the game reps may not show that, but guys that have been here for a while and have been ready to step up and play that role, that know what to expect, have been on road games before, know how loud it is. So I don't think it'll be an issue with the line. They know what to expect and what how to prepare for that situation. And the receivers as well. We have a veteran group of receivers and running backs and tight ends that will get it as we go. And I think we'll be prepared for it. Coach Mullen and Coach Johnson and having seen all the offensive guys just get everybody prepared for it. And I think it'll be just fine. So.
What have you seen from the freshman corners? I mean, the other night, Kimbrough made a nice tackle, and Elam with the shutout save and pick. What have you seen from them day to day?
Yeah, I think that Marco and CJ do a good job of showing those guys the ropes. How they should prepare, and because it's not easy when you first get to college. Trying to learn how to prepare for a game and all these other different things that are super challenging. I think they do a good job of setting the example. And those guys just following, and I think that'll be really good. I think that they'll be CJ and Marco. I think we'll get them in the right place to be ready to play every Saturday. So.
In terms of their
I think that they're good. I think they're good. I don't think that we would. I don't know if I should say that. I don't know, but I think they're good players. Yeah.